Okay, let's take a look at problem 7.12. An insect species is discovered in which the heterogametic sex is unknown. An X-linked recessive mutation for reduced wing is discovered. Contrast the F1 and F2 generations from a cross between a female with reduced wings and a male with normal-sized wings. When the first situation is A, the female is the heterogametic sex, and then we will take a look at B, when the male is the heterogametic sex. So what's going on here? Essentially, it doesn't have to be that in all species that the male is the heterogametic sex, and that's not true. So the male isn't always the heterogametic sex. And let's take a look. And just in case you forgot what that means, we'll review a little bit first before we take a look at the cross and the results of this cross. Okay, so we have a new insect species. And we don't know which is the heterogametic sex. What does that mean? Okay, so let me diagram two possible situations here. So let's say we have an insect here, and this is my insect. And this is going to be my female insect, and this is going to be my male insect. And they don't look that different, but trust me, one's a female and one's a male, and I'll give this one a goatee. I don't know too many females with goatees, so this male has a goatee. So this is a male, and so I need to do that over here too, because we have two different situations. One situation where the female is the heterogametic sex, and one where the male is the heterogametic sex. So I'm just diagramming the insects first, and so we have one possibility here, situation 1, and then situation 2 over here. Okay, so over here, and I'll put little symbols here just to clarify. We have males and females. So over here, situation, okay, we'll call this situation actually A. Which is consistent with the question. So the female is the heterogametic sex. What does that mean? So the sex chromosomes, let's say they are X and Y, that means this female here would be XY. So, and it's heterogametic because it makes gametes that are either have the X genotype or the Y genotype. So in situation A here, or situation 1, the female is the heterogametic sex, so we put XY there. And the male would thus be the homogametic sex. And that happens sometimes. So in this case, this question, we don't know which is which. So we're going to figure that out, or at least see a way we can figure that out. So in situation B, we're changing this to situation B, the male is the heterogametic sex. So that's like the case in humans, right? With the X and a Y chromosome in the males. And then the females are homogametic. So they have to have two X's. All their gametes are genetically identical with respect to the X chromosome, right? So they're all, in situation B, the females are the homogametic sex. Now, we don't know which is which, but we do have a mutation that we know. Somehow we know it's on the X chromosome. We don't know, I don't know how we know that, but for this question we do know that we have a mutation called reduced wing, which I guess makes flies with miniature wings, and that's a terrible mutation to have if you're, well, not necessarily a fly, but an insect. I'm assuming it's a terrible mutation. So I'll change these smileys. Okay, so they have the reduced wing mutation in some of these flies. So we're going to do a cross here, And I'm only going to do the F1 because we've done lots of these crosses in the past, and I think we can get all the information we need just by looking at the F1 crosses in the two situations. So we're going to cross a female, and I'll just use the symbol for female, cross to a male, and the female has the reduced wing phenotype, so reduced, and the male has the normal phenotype, normal wings. Okay, and so we're going to look at situation A, which is up here. The female is the heterogametic sex. So only one X chromosome, and the female has reduced wings, so the genotype is going to be RW for reduced wing and a Y chromosome. Now the male genotype is normal, and we're doing a cross here, and we're going to assume that the male is homozygous for the wild type allele of reduced wing. So that's why the male has a normal phenotype. So now we just need to do a Punnett square, and it's been a while since we've done these, but this is the easiest way to look at the results of this cross. So I'm just going to put the female gamete genotypes here, and then the male down here. And I'm not going to write RW. If it's RW plus, I'll just put a plus in here. So we have plus RW plus Y chromosome plus RW and plus Y chromosome. Okay, so these are the females. Remember, because the females are have the X and Y genotype. And these are the males, 2 X chromosomes. And we can see all of the females have wild type phenotype, so they're normal wing. They have the normal wing phenotype. And all of the males here also have the normal wing because it's a recessive mutation. And the wild type allele is dominant to the recessive mutation. So all of the progeny from the F1 cross are have normal wings if the female is the heterogametic sex. Okay, now let's take a look at the other situation where the female is the male is the heterogametic sex. So female, reduced wing female, so the phenotypes are the same. So reduced wing female crossed to a normal winged male. So remember, so now we're looking at when the male is the heterogametic sex, so the male's normal wing, normal winged, so that's the genotype there. The female is reduced wing, so female needs to be homozygous recessive. Now we just make the Punnett square. So, okay, again, I'm just going to put the plus for the wild type allele. So we have 4 possible combinations of gametes here. And these, remember, the males are the heterogametic sex, so these are going to be the males. These two, 1, 2. And the males are both reduced wing because they are hemizygous for the X chromosome, and they have mutant alleles for reduced wing. They have the mutant allele. And the females are normal winged, so they are heterozygous. They have one dominant wild type allele for reduced wing, so they are end up being normal wing, because they have the RW plus RW genotype, all of them do. Okay, so we can see that the F1 phenotypic ratio changes depending on if the female is the heterogametic sex or the male is the heterogametic sex. So when the male is heterogametic sex, we see females with normal wings and males with reduced wings. And when the female is the heterogametic sex, all the flies have normal wings. Okay, so that was a pretty easy question, I think. I hope you thought so too.